These days, dbt is very popular among data engineers. In this video, I want to show you with a really simple example what dbt is about and what this tool does for us. So imagine we have a really simple database here. It could be a database or a data warehouse, it doesn't matter. We have a table of content here. Imagine that we have this people table here with the name of people here as well as the born year for them. Now what we want to do as a data engineer or data analyst or data scientist, we want to get the list of people sorted based on their age and also showing their age instead of the born year here. It's a really simple query, right? Let's do this in execute SQL here. So here I can say that select name from people, and if I just play it, it shows me a list of names. If I use star here, it's going to show the whole table. Now we can even order it by the born year column. So order by born year. Now let me grab a piece of code from here. This is the article that I've already written all the codes and everything you need here. So you can grab the link from the description and copy and paste all the codes that I'm going to use. So here I just need to copy this one and paste it here. It's a really simple query. We just calculate the age based on the current year and the born year column, and then sort it based on age. So so something's wrong here. And then we're gonna have something like this. So as a data scientist or as a data engineer, what we did here is just running the query directly on the database. We can do the same thing on the data warehouses or other platforms wherever we have data. This is a common way to fetch the data in the shape we want. But the idea behind dbt is that instead of putting the query here, what you can do is just keep this query in a file called models, and they can run this query using dbt. Instead of interacting with the database or the data warehouse directly, you don't need to do that, and dbt does everything for you. So that way you can unify the querying the database or the data warehouse among all the data engineers and data analysts and for different platforms and dashboards. And also you can keep that query under version control so that you can include it in CI/CD. So that's the main idea behind dbt. Of course, it comes with a lot of other features out of the box, but I can say that as a beginner, the idea you need to know is this. But let's do this in dbt to see how we can set up dbt from scratch and how we can have a model like this. So as I said, I have everything written here. I'll put the link in the description, so feel free to just copy and paste all the code from this article. So the very first thing we need to work with dbt tool is of course the modules. So here I'm going to use Python, so I need Python modules. You need only two Python modules here, dbt core and dbt SQLite. And the reason for that is that here for this example, I'm just gonna use the SQLite database locally. I'm not using any cloud-based data warehouse or any other databases because we want to keep it as simple as possible. But the concept is going to be pretty much the same. So we're gonna install SQLite, we create our own database, we put our own data there, and then we start working with that. So you don't need anything else. So let me just grab this and place it here. I have already installed all the modules needed, so it says requirement already satisfied. But I can, of course, check the modules here I have. So here I can grab dbt. And here, these are the modules I have for dbt, dbt SQLite, and dbt core. And as you can see, this is the version of dbt I have. I have dbt core installed 1.10, and also I have a SQLite plugin here. The version is 1.10 as well. So far we can connect to SQLite databases, but if you want to connect, for instance, to PostgreSQL or MySQL or other data warehouses, even cloud-based data warehouses, you can do that, but you need to install the related plugins. Now we want to initialize a new project from scratch. So we just need to say dbt init and the name of the project. So I'm going to call it test dbt. So here it says that based on the plugins we have installed already, the only option I have is SQLite. So I choose one as the database I'd like to test with or I'd like to use. And here, this is the folder test dbt. And then this is the structure of the project I'm going to have. The main folder we're going to work with today is the models folder, and also we need to create another folder for our data. So here I can create my own database with SQLite really easy. I just need to say SQLite 3. I can name the DB anything I want. I can just name it etl.db. Let me call it etl_test.db. And that should be all. Well, actually I needed to run this in data folder, but no problem. I can just move it to data folder. So move etl to data folder. Go to data folder. And here we have our own SQLite database, which is of course empty. But that's enough for us to just configure dbt. So to configure dbt to know our project, we need to go to the main profile configuration file for dbt. The configuration is going to be in the root of your username directory. So nano dbt profiles.yml. Here by default we're gonna see some configurations. You can either use them or create your own new configuration. But as you can see, we already have our new project by default here. So as soon as you initialize your new project with dbt, it's going to create the whole configuration for you. But you need to modify a few lines here. For instance, this one, our data is just in data folder. I'm going to remove the extra prefix, type SQLite, and that should be all. So let's just save it. Let's go inside models folder. Examples. So here we can create our own models or SQL files, meaning that we can put our queries inside these models. So if we want to create a new table containing new information, or as a result of another query from other tables, simply we can just name the file as the name of our table. So here I can say nano my new table.sql. Let me name it something else. I can name it my people. First, what we want to do is generating some data because we don't have any data to work with. So we can simply do this with dbt itself. We can just insert our new data into a new table. So nano my people.sql. And here, if I come here, simply I can just grab this piece of code, which is really simple. That way you can insert new data into the table. Then I save it. Now I'll go back to the root of the project, which is test dbt. And here simply I can run dbt run. And it's gonna go through all the models I have and then run them one by one. So here you can see my people model here, which has been successfully created. But how we can make sure that this model is there in the database? For different databases, there are different ways to see inside the database and to work with the database. But here in this example for SQLite, there is a really cool tool called DB Browser for SQLite. You can simply download it for different OSs and it's free of charge. And then when you open it, here you can come to open database, you come to your project folder, test dbt, and then try to look for the actual database, which is going to be etltest.db. However, we made a mistake. So if I go back to my profile configuration, dbt profile, here I forgot to change the name for the database here in dev. So I need to change it to etl-test. And then if I go to my data folder here, I can remove everything here, etl. I don't have anything else here. Now I go back again and try to run dbt again, dbt run. And if I check data folder again, there's gonna be this etl-test.db. So here simply I can just load this local database. And here I have my table, my people, and with all the information I added. So congratulations, you ran your very first DBT model. Now as the second DBT model, what we want to do the same example we did in the beginning of this video. We want to run a query to sort these records based on their age, showing the actual age instead of the born year column. So simply we can go to models and example folders. We can create another SQL model file. So here I can name it sorted users skill. And we can simply just put the query from the article here. Quite simple. Let me explain it. So we say that we want to select the name column first, and then we want to calculate the age with this formula, the current year minus the born year column. And we want to name it as age. So we're going to have name and the age column. But here we need to determine which table we want to use as the source. So it's going to be my people as the source for this data. And then we sort the data based on the age. And that will be all. So let's run this again. dbt run. We need to be in the root directory. So dbt run. Let's get back to this DB browser. And here if I refresh and if I try to look for the new table, which is sorted users. And here I'm gonna find this new table with the sorted data the way as I want it. And that's it. That's the main idea behind using DBT. Of course, there are a lot of other features. This is just a really simple example of what we can do with DBT. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, take care.